Hello, YouTube. Thank you for joining us for this DebateCraft production of On the Spot, the show where we have a member of the DebateCraft community join us and we put them on the spot by asking them questions submitted by the DebateCraft community. Today we have Vader. Vader, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be on the show.
Thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you. So, first question I have for you. As a Packer fan, it's really difficult for me to say this, but Caleb Williams seems like a decent quarterback. I hate to say it, he seems decent. Why did the previous 20 Bears quarterbacks suck?
That's a great question. You know, I've only been alive 22 years to this point in time, so I've only seen a few, and they've all been pretty bad. But you know, he's a number one pick for a reason. I believe, fully confident in him. Can't really give a good answer, but I think he's different. He's definitely impressed me a lot. He's definitely the best quarterback I've seen in my lifetime. So, a lot of confidence, a lot of faith in him, and I'm glad to see where the Bears go these next couple of years.
Fair enough. That's a good answer. I just want to follow up with that real quick. Do you think it's possible the Bears have just had really bad luck drafting quarterbacks? Like those 20 Bears quarterbacks all really just did suck. And, you know, just now they finally got some luck and they have a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's aspects that play a part into it. I think the Mitch Trubisky draft was just bad drafting as a whole. I think Justin Fields, you know, I think he's still got a lot of talent, but I just think you didn't put him in the right situation. And I mean, when you have Matt Eberflus as your coach, that certainly doesn't help you at all. And then, I mean, the quarterbacks that I've seen, Grossman, I mean, he was kind of more of a project, I remember him being, from what I'm mistaken. But he's definitely someone that, you know, he made great moments, but then he just followed up with some of the worst decisions you'll ever be. And then they tried to go more with the veteran route with Jay Cutler and Kyle Orton. And that Jay Cutler, you know, it's definitely telling when Jay Cutler's your number one quarterback, lifetime, like franchise passing leader. So I think it's a combination of bad luck and just incompetence as a whole.
Fair enough. That does seem to be the correct answer. Yes. I appreciate it. What is your favorite genre of music?
That's a great question. So I'm also a music producer. So what I kind of produce is a lot of like rap, trap, hip hop, R&B. So obviously that's definitely an answer. But I really do like all types of music. So I do prefer a lot of punk rock. I can do with a lot of house music as well. But I would definitely go more with rap, hip hop, and then I'd put close second with punk rock.
Awesome. Okay, I didn't know this about you, so I'm glad that I asked that question. Hopefully in a future video we can follow up on that and actually talk more about music. Next question I have for you. I'm not asking you necessarily what your favorite movie is. I asked this question earlier, and Mike answered this question about asked what's the greatest movie of all time. I thought he'd just tell me his favorite movie. So I'm asking you, what is the greatest movie of all time? Not necessarily what your favorite movie is, but if you look at the entirety of film, what do you think society should consider the greatest movie of all time?
That is a great question. In terms of the greatest movies of all time, from what I've seen, my personal favorite is Goodfellas. But I think if you're in terms of the greatest movie, I really like Good Will Hunting. I think Good Will Hunting is probably the best combination of kind of emotions that you will feel in a film when it comes to happiness and then sadness and a mixture of emotions. You know, maybe it could be considered a favorite, but I think the combination, the story, it's not really a simple story. It's not really, well, I don't know. It's just definitely more captivating, and I think what movies are supposed to do is invoke emotion and invoke kind of feelings, and I think Good Will Hunting definitely does that.
That's a good answer. It's funny. I asked myself, like, after I asked Mike what the greatest movie ever, I'm like, how would I have answered that? And I think Goodfellas might have actually been my answer. If put on the spot, I'm not sure how I would answer, but Goodfellas or like Shawshank, I don't know. But Good Will Hunting is a movie that is conspicuously absent from my list of movies just because I've never seen it, and now I probably will have to put it on my list of movies to see, especially with that endorsement. So that's a good answer. Just that I obviously can't refute it since I've never seen it. Next question I have for you, and it's a question I always ask. What is your most controversial political opinion, and why?
My most controversial political opinion. I don't know how controversial this would be, but I don't believe that the drinking age should be 21 in America. I believe it should be 18. And I think the biggest reason behind that is roles and responsibilities that we have. In 18, you're legally allowed to vote. You're legally allowed to join the military. You're legally allowed to join a lot of these different things. But the question is then, you're 21 to drinking alcohol, then my point tends to be that is, if you're allowed to join the military, potentially sacrifice your life, and carry a gun in a foreign nation and go into different countries, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal to personally be legal to drink a beer at that age. Like, I just think that if you are proven to be enough in the military, proven enough to own a gun at that age, I think you would be good enough to own and be able to drink alcohol. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of studies behind, having the drinking age to maybe that age. But I think then if you're going to do that, you have to adjust everything to a certain age. And I just think if you're going to set the bar at 18, you have to be consistent with everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that's necessarily that controversial. I think that interesting debate could be had on that topic, but I think you're probably right. It's not that controversial. Thank you so much for joining us, Vader. I really appreciate the time you spent with us today. You gave some really good, interesting answers. Listeners, viewers, thanks for listening and watching. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.